Welcome to Fenway Park as we get ready for Game 4 of the 4-game series between the Los Angeles Angels and the Boston Red Sox. Welcome inside the broadcast booth, everybody. I'm Don Orsillo, as always, joined by Jerry Remy. Welcome to Red Sox baseball. Well, a bit of a change today for the Red Sox. The outfield has been ever-changing, and tonight it was Alan Craig who was going to play for the Pawtucket Red Sox, but it doesn't work out that way. In fact, he's summoned here to Fenway Park and to Boston and to get the start tonight, as it turns out, instead of continuing his rehab assignment. As a result, Alex Hassan has been optioned to the Paw Sox, hitting at .282 this year with Pawtucket, was here just the one day. Alan Craig is back and activated from the 15-day DL. See his numbers combined between St. Louis and Boston. And Jerry, certainly for Alan Craig, the Red Sox will have their eyes on him to figure out what he is going to be like for the future of the Red Sox.
Exactly right, Don. You know, they don't know very much about Alan Craig right now except his past. And since he's been with the Red Sox, he hurt his ankle running down to first base. And since that time has been rehabbing and also getting some work down at Pawtucket. And as you mentioned, the Red Sox have so many injuries right now. Napoli with the bad back, Middlebrooks the bad hamstring. They felt like, why not call him up and let him get his at-bats in these games here? One thing he's been able to do throughout his career has been able to hit with men on base, men in scoring position. He's always had outstanding numbers, and that's something the Red Sox desperately need right now.
Haven't had that at all in this series against the Angels and have not won it all in this series. They'll try to do so tonight. We'll come back to Fenway Park and have more for you as we get ready for Red Sox and Angels from Fenway. Southwest Airlines. Find our fares online only at southwest.com. Now the fans right next to Fenway Park here as we welcome you inside Fenway for Game 4 of a 4-game series between the Angels and the Red Sox. Well, tonight the Red Sox trying to salvage the last game of the series, and tonight they send Ruby De La Rosa to the mound as he tries to help the Red Sox. The good news is for De La Rosa, he's pitched incredibly well at home at Fenway. Not so much on the road, but really good here at Fenway Park. In 6 starts, 3-1 with a 3.25 earned run average. 36 innings, opponents hitting at .256 against De La Rosa. The only home start he's had so far allowing 3+ runs only happened one time. Well, back for us and downfield level is Gary Streisky with more. Gary?
Don, you were talking about Alan Craig a little bit earlier, and it's kind of easy to forget that Alan Craig is a member of the Red Sox because when they acquired him on the July 31st trade deadline, he only played the one game for Boston before landing himself on that disabled list, but he's back early, ready to go, as he explains in our Geico quote of the day.
I've been excited about the opportunity and looking forward to playing ball with my new teammates, because that's important important part of it. Building new relationships with the guys and the fans and everything is to be out there and play. So obviously, I'm extremely excited, to get out there and start playing.
So John Farrell going to ease Craig back in with the designated hitter position tonight. He was telling me he's most excited about being plugged into the middle of that lineup because, of course, that's what he was brought here to Boston to do. And really, next to just being able to play with the squad, 36 games left in the season, really, this is sort of like a tryout if he's going to be on the team next season, Dio.
All right, Gary, it'll be fun to watch. We'll be looking for him tonight in Game 4 of the series. It's coming your way next on NESN. Airlines, Dunkin' Donuts, your New England Audi dealers, McDonald's, I'm loving it, your New England Kia dealers, your Subaru dealers of New England, and by Toyota's website for deals via Toyota.com. Welcome back to Fenway Park. Cloud covered in Boston at the moment, but so far precipitation free as the Red Sox and Angels wrap up their series here tonight from Fenway. Red Sox trying to gather their first victory of the series and trying to get some timely hitting. Jerry mentioned off the top, but really not getting much timely hitting, leaving a lot of runners on base and not coming up with a hit with runners in scoring position.
Yeah, and they've got a night tonight where they don't have Ortiz in the lineup, a scheduled day off. Mike Napoli still being bothered by a tender back, so he's not in the lineup tonight. But Alan Craig finally returns to the Red Sox lineup after a couple of rehab assignments down at Pawtucket.
Alan Craig DHing tonight for Boston and back with his team, ready for his second game in a Red Sox uniform after getting injured in his very first game. Of course, coming over along with Joe Kelly in the John Lackey deal. And the Red Sox tonight will have Ruby De La Rosa on the mound for the final game of the series. Just highlighted his home numbers, which are very good, and he hopes to continue here at Fenway Park as Red Sox will continue this homestand after the game tonight with the Angels. They'll welcome the Seattle Mariners to town, and the Mariners will be here for the weekend series beginning tomorrow night. So the Red Sox about to take the field here from Fenway Park. Christian Vazquez taking the field, as will the rest of the Red Sox tonight. As they do, let's check out the Angels starting 9 tonight. Cole Calhoun has had a very good series, leading it off in right field. Mike Trout back in center field with Albert Pujols at first base batting third. Josh Hamilton had a good night last night, the DH. Howie Kendrick at second base with David Freese, the former Cardinal, at third base. Eric Ibar at shortstop bats seventh with Chris Iannetta doing the catching. He bats eighth, and Colin Cowgill in left field bats ninth. Tonight's Red Sox starting pitcher presented by New England Audi dealers. Experience the all-new 2015 Audi A3 today. Well, for Ruby De La Rosa, his 13th start of the year, 4-4 with a 3.79 earned run average in 71 1/3 innings, 50 strikeouts to 26 walks, 274 opponent batting average. And last time against the Angels, he beat them back on August 10th, 7 innings, giving up only 1 run, walked 3 and struck out 8. And again here at home, 3-1 on the year.
The Red Sox defense is brought to you by Southwest Airlines, and the Red Sox are 7th in the American League with 74 errors on the season. Brock Holt will be at third base. Xander Bogaerts, the shortstop. Dustin Pedroia in second. And Kelly Johnson, the first baseman. Left to right, Yoenis Cespedes, Mookie Betts, and Daniel Nava. And Christian Vasquez doing the catching for De La Rosa.
Umpiring crew tonight, Andy Fletcher has the play call on the balls and strikes with Mike Michlinski at first base, Tom Woodring at second base, and Mike Winters, the crew chief, for the umpire at third. This game is available in Spanish. The SAP function is brought to you by the new Captain Morgan White Rum.
Buenas noches, amigos.
Again, cloud covered Fenway Park, 68 degrees. Breeze in from right at 7 miles per hour. And the forecast cloudy for the remainder of the night as it has cooled off here in Boston, and the Red Sox ready to go here against the Angels. Cole Calhoun about to lead it off for Los Angeles. He has been very good in the series, offensively and defensively for that matter. Calhoun, Trout, and Pujols here in the first inning. First pitch of the ball game from Ruby De La Rosa is outside, ball one, and we are underway. Calhoun checks in, hitting at .293, 13 homers, 42 runs batted in for the Angels right fielder. Outside for ball two, 2-0.
Trying to bounce back from a tough start as De La Rosa against Houston. Only lasted 4 innings in that ball game, giving up 9 hits and 6 earned runs. Had 4 walks also in that ball game.
Now season high in walks. His 2-0 pitch. Calhoun rips it right back where he came from and into center field. Ringing single to start the game for Cole Calhoun. Well, fans, you can test your Red Sox IQ right now. The MLB Preplay mobile app. Download for free and start predicting every at-bat of every Red Sox game all season. Tonight, Preplay predicts Ruby De La Rosa goes 6 innings, allowing 5 hits, giving up 2 earned runs, and striking out 5. So leadoff single for Calhoun at first base for Mike Trout. 288, 27 homers, and 89 runs batted in for Trout. I'll take strike one. 9 career games now at Fenway Park for Trout. He's hit at .390 against Boston with a double, a triple, and 7 RBIs. Crowds him inside and evens the count at 1-1.
As you mentioned, second time that they have faced De La Rosa, and Trout was 1 for 3 against him with a home run in the game in Anaheim. Pujols on deck.
Center fielder Mookie Betts over towards right center. Wait for Trout to go the other way. Waiting on a 1-1 pitch. And he grounds it down the third baseline. Brock Holt will go to first base for the out there as Calhoun takes second base. Holt had to charge it and gets it to first, and Trout runs well, but he gets him.
A little peek towards second base by Brock Holt, but no play there for him. Make sure you get one out, and He gets it out at first base. Trout jammed by the fastball that time by De La Rosa. And a little bounding ball down the third baseline.
So runner in scoring position now with one out for Albert Pujols. 34-year-old Albert Pujols sitting at .309 in the last 60 games. Overall 276, 23 homers and 77 runs batted in for the Angels first baseman. Takes strike one. It's time now for tonight's Coors Hard Facts, brought to you by Frostbrewed Coors Light. Albert Pujols, one of three Major League players to hit over .305 with 40 RBIs since June the 11th. Jose Abreu and J.D. Martinez, the other two. Pujols gets the arms out of the way and takes ball one, 1-1. 5-game hitting streak coming in for Pujols at .412 in the last 5 games. Got his 23rd home run of the season last Saturday in the 515th of his career. Good for 21st on baseball's all-time list. 6 shy of matching Willie McCovey and Frank Thomas and Ted Williams for 18th. Fouled off to the right, and it's 1-2. A 95-mile-an-hour fastball biting in.
That's the liveliest fastball that De La Rosa has featured so far in the first inning here. 95. He's been 93, 94, 95 with the fastball. One changeup in this at bat to Albert Pujols.
De La Rosa trying to work his way around a leadoff single by Cole Calhoun, who's now at second base, with one out in the top of the first inning. Pujols backs out. Josh Hamilton waiting on deck. One out, runner at second. In the dirt, gets away from Vasquez. Thinking about it was Calhoun, but he gets back to the bag.
A backhanded attempt there by Vasquez, and it bounced off his shin guard and keeps it within reach, so Calhoun has to stay at second base. That's one that's pretty easy if you're a runner at second base to pick up, because it's not behind the catcher or the umpire, it's off to the side.
Swing and a miss. Pujols strikes out. He gets him. 2 down. First strikeout for De La Rosa.
The strikeout high for De La Rosa is 8. He's done that a couple of times this year. That's a changeup that stays down and in on Pujols that time to pick up the strikeout, and the changeup is 89 miles an hour.
So big strikeout there at Pujols, and it brings up Josh Hamilton. 268 average coming in, 8 homers and 38 runs batted in. And 3 RBIs in last night's game as he takes strike one over the inside corner. It had 3 RBIs in the previous 17 games. Collected 3 RBIs in last night's game alone. Last night his first multi-hit game since August the 3rd. 352 average here at Fenway Park. And he sends this to left. This is trouble. It is going to one-hop the wall. Around from second base comes Calhoun. Throw goes to second, and Hamilton is safe at second base. Got himself an RBI double, and the Angels jump on top 1-0.
Well, maybe those few days off that Hamilton took has helped him out, because he's been pretty darn good in this series against the Red Sox. Gets a fastball down out over the plate and takes it to the opposite field, slicing it away from Cespedes. Calhoun comes around to score, and the Angels quickly jump out in front. Here's the throw to second base, very close, but the hand in just before the tag.
So 2 down, Hamilton at second. Here's Howie Kendrick, who looks at strike one. 279, 5 homers and 53 runs batted in for the Angels' second baseman. Angels today obtaining Gordon Beckham from the Chicago White Sox. Interesting to see where he fits in the fold here for the Angels and for Mike Scioscia. Outside, 2-1. Let's take a look at our Chevy key player to watch, Howie Kendrick. His career at Fenway Park, a .360 average, highest among active players, a minimum of 30 games. Off the outside edge, and now De La Rosa falling behind 3-1. .307 with runners in scoring position, but even better since June. Hamilton at second base, 2 down in the inning. Fouled off the end of the bat to the right, and a full count now.
I believe that's the first slider that De La Rosa has thrown in this game tonight, and Howie Kendrick fouling it off. We were talking about this the other night, Don. Kendrick seems like he's been there an awful long time with the Angels.
He does.
And he has been, actually, for a long time, but it seems like since Bobby Grich. There are a few in between.
Through the left side of the left field, a base hit. See if they send Hamilton. They will. Cespedes going to throw him out at the plate. Yoenis Cespedes guns down Hamilton at the plate. Just coming around third was Hamilton, with Cespedes got the ball in left field, and he shows off that arm to end the inning. To gun down Josh Hamilton last inning, and tying Jackie Bradley Jr. for the most outfield assists on the year. Well, we take a look at the starting lineup for the Red Sox, brought to you by McDonald's. I'm loving it as Brock Holt leads it off at third base with Dustin Pedroia at second. Daniel Navas in right with Cespedes in left. Alan Craig, the DH tonight, with Kelly Johnson at first base. Xander Bogaerts at shortstop at seventh with Mookie Betts in center field eighth. And Christian Vasquez does the catching and bats ninth. First pitch from the pitcher tonight for the Angels, Matt Shoemaker. Brought to you by Nissan. 22nd appearance, 15th start. Is 11-4, the 3.84 earned run average.
Made one appearance against the Red Sox, and that was that extra inning game out in Anaheim. He picked up the win. Pitched 3 innings in that game out of relief.
You get him? He did. Down to first base goes Holt. Hit by the pitch.
Let's look at the Angel defense. They are third in the league with 65 errors on the season. David Freese will be at third base. Eric Ibar, the shortstop. Howie Kendrick, the second. Albert Pujols at first. Left to right, Colin Cowgill, Mike Trout, and Cole Calhoun. And Chris Iannetta for the 4th straight game behind the plate.
Holt at first base, and Dustin Pedroia now standing in. Pedroia started the night hitting at .283, 5 homers, 45 runs batted in. Shoemaker, a rookie, and is the first Angels rookie to post a double-digit win total since Matt Palmer won 11 in 2009. Last Angels rookie to win 12 games was Irvin Santana back in 2005. One pitch to Pedroia. Fouled off to the right out play. 1-2. Shoemaker making the Angels opening day roster as a reliever. Again, his 22nd appearance, 15th start, so 7 out of the pen. Swing and a miss, and Pedroia strikes out. First out here at the bottom of the first inning.
And Shoemaker that time gets away with a high slider that time to Pedroia. There's the breaking ball that stays up in a good place to hit. But no contact by Pedroia. And he knew he had a good pitch to hit right there.
1 out, 1 on. Daniel Nava batting in the 3 spot tonight for the Red Sox. David Ortiz off. 264, 2 homers, and 19 runs batted in for Nava. Nava 1 for 6 in the series against the Angels so far. A couple of walks. Third time that Nava has batted in the 3 spot this season.
Six stolen bases on the season for Brock Holt. He's been caught a couple of times.
A little bit low, and it's 2-0 down to Nava.
Nava up in that 3 spot, as you mentioned, on 7 for his last 17 at the plate. Swinging the bat pretty well.
Red Sox have lost their last 4 straight games heading into this finale of the series against the Angels. Nava will take the strike, and it's 2-1. Most of the action today in the major leagues taking place this afternoon. Light slate anyway in the majors, but a lot of it today. Raining in Chicago right now. The Dodgers will host the Padres later tonight. Atlanta and Cincinnati playing night baseball.
David Price pitching against his former ball club today, the Tampa Bay Rays. Tampa Bay winning that game 1-0.
Detroit a game back of the Kansas City Royals to start the day. The throw over a little closer this time, and Brock Holt back to the bag.
Brock Holt was trying to get a little extra lead there and take another half a step, and had to quickly get back to first base.
Up and away, 3-1.
Angels got a long night ahead of them. They got the ball game and a flight to Oakland after the game, where they open up a series against the A's.
Runner goes, swing and a miss for Nava. The throw is going to be not in time. Stolen base for Brock Holt.
Holt's got himself a pretty decent lead at first base and a very good jump. There's the swing and miss. A good throw by Iannetta, but that sweep tag by Ibar. He's out in front of the bag, and when he sweeps back, not in time to get Brock Holt. Holt came off the bag for a second, but I don't think the tag was on him. This Holt coming back and getting the bag with his hand.
Looking at it right now, Mike Scioscia 1 foot out of the dugout, and he gets the word not to challenge. I like Mike Scioscia's approach. He's done that a few times where he waits from the dugout.
Yeah, instead of going all the way out there.
Swing and a miss, and Nava strikes out as Shoemaker comes back to get him. Back-to-back strikeouts for Shoemaker as he gets Pedroia, and now Nava 2 down.
It's like a split-fingered fastball this time to pick up the strike. I did see the bottom falling out of that pitch, completely fooling Daniel Nava. So you're looking at about, what, a 4 or 5 o'clock arrival in Oakland?
That's unbelievable.
I know. We've done that before.
Yes, we have, but wow. That's awful. And they're playing tomorrow night.
And they're playing tomorrow night.
Like they have a day off or anything, and that's going to be wow. I mean, you do get the 3 hours back, but so what?
Yeah. You're talking a good 6-hour flight.
Now 2 down, Brock Holt there at second base. Yoenis Cespedes, the batter. Swing and a miss for strike one. 13th outfield assist from left field this year for Yoenis Cespedes. Able to gun down Hamilton. Look where Hamilton is when Cespedes has the ball. He just really had reached third base.
And that's the first assist that Cespedes has had in a Red Sox uniform. No question about that one right there.
Inside, almost hit him. Got the bat though, and it's 0-2. The other thing about that, Oakland is off today, so they're just resting and waiting for the Angels to arrive tomorrow night.
Yep.
Target set for Cespedes in the Green Monster. First row of the Green Monster seat, certainly obtainable for Yoenis Cespedes. Swing and a miss, and he strikes out to end the inning. Shoemaker strikes out the side. Angels have a 1-0 lead after 1. One nothing Angels on top of the Red Sox as they come to bat here in the second inning, and leading it off for Los Angeles, David Freese. Eric Ibar, then Chris Iannetta here in the second inning against Ruby De La Rosa, who gave up a run to the Angels in the first inning. An RBI double by Josh Hamilton that has given the Angels a 1-0 advantage. De La Rosa at home 3-1 with a 3.25 earned run average. Talked about the road reverse record, 1-3 on the road, a 4.33 ERA. 6 starts at home, 6 starts on the road. Two 2-1 pitch is fouled off, and it's 2-2. Well, these aerial views of Boston and Fenway Park are brought to you by Hood, the official dairy of the Boston Red Sox. To follow the Hood Blimp and enter to win prizes this summer, visit the Hood Facebook page or follow @Hood Blimp on Twitter. Chop left side. Holt plays the high hop and throws out Freese. It does not run well for the first out of the inning. Set it down to Gary.
Hey, Jerry, last night you brought up Robert De Niro, so tonight's Scion TC poll question is, which is your favorite movie with angels in the title? Sox 1, Angels in the Outfield. Sox 2, Charlie's Angels. Sox 3, City of Angels. Sox 4, We're No Angels. Text your answer to 536-536. Message and data rates, those may apply. Text help if you need it. Visit NESN.com/terms for all that fun legal stuff, guys.
All right, Gary, thanks very much.
Well, De Niro was in We're No Angels, right?
I don't know. Yes?
I think so.
So you're going with that? Sean Penn was in that, I'm told, as well. This is through the left side into left field, a base hit. Eric Ibar not waiting around, swinging to that first pitch from Ruby De La Rosa and collecting the 4th Angels hit of the night.
6 straight games now for Eric Ibar as continues the hitting streak. Angels in the Outfield was a good movie too.
How about Charlie's Angels? Not excited about Charlie's Angels?
The movie or the TV series?
Well, the TV series is very good, but this is, I think, technically the movie. Yeah. I like the TV series. I wasn't crazy about the movie.
Yeah, the TV series was good. That's a long time ago.
Yeah. for Sayonetta. That is not the 18 to 34 demographic, as this one gets away. Ibar will take second base. Wild pitch gets Ibar to second. It's more the 64 to 74 demographic, I think.
I don't even fit into that one.
Troy walking over towards second, trying to keep Ibar close to the bag at second. And a pitch inside for ball 2, 2-0.
That's a problem all around baseball for 18 to 34 people watching baseball games. Anybody got any ideas? Tweet it into Nesson and see what the deal is with 18 and 34-year-olds about watching the game. How can you make the game more appealing to people of that age group?
To me, it starts with pace of game. This one will get away from Vasquez initially, but no advance at second base for Ibar. A lot of talk, pace of game, certainly in the commissioner conversation with Tom Werner and Major League Baseball. And I think that is number one for me, Jerry, is the pace of game. You think of when you played that Monday Night Baseball started at 9 p.m.
9 o'clock.
You even imagine that in today's game?
No.
I mean, you're talking about a 1 a.m. finish.
No, the World Series is ridiculous, starting at 8:35 or whenever they start. Best part of the game you don't get to see. Or the kids don't get to see.
Right.
The kids barely get to see the beginning of it.
This will miss for ball 4, and down to first base goes Iannetta.
Well, one of my rules, and I'm going to stick by it. Should be no visits to the mound except for a manager to take out a pitcher. That's
right. No pitching coaches.
I'm
done.
No, there should be pitching coaches.
Yes, but no pitching coaches to the mound.
To the mound.
That trip is over in your
out.
Baseball
no infield
world.
is going out there. No catch is going out there. Handle it yourself. I think pitchers would probably rather have it that way.
Do you think that pitchers are taking too long, or are hitters taking too long?
I think it's a combination of both. I think if you want to enforce a rule, just let a hitter take 1 foot out of the box between pitches. I think that would quicken the pitcher up a little bit. I think if you want to use the clock on the pitches, why not? If you got time, put the clock on.
So you're okay with the clock then?
I'm okay with the clock. Yeah, I mean.
Here comes the pitching coach, Jerry.
Yeah, that's.
Juan, do you ever set it out there to talk to Ruby De La Rosa in Jerry's baseball world? This will never happen again.
No. I've been in a lot of those meetings, and I just don't get it. I don't know. Maybe there are times pitchers do enjoy the pitching coach coming out there, but for the most part, when I was playing, they didn't want any part of him out there. And you almost have to send the manager out to take him out of a game, because some pitchers would say, "I'm not coming out."
Right. They won't make that walk over there.
Exactly. You'd have a big argument between the manager and the pitcher on whether to come out of the game or not.
Okay, so we've eliminated trips to the mound. We have eliminated getting out of the box. You only get 1 foot out of the box.
1 foot out.
1 foot out. How are you on the walk-up music? They have reduced that to allegedly 15 seconds this year.
That doesn't bother me.
You're okay with the walk-up music?
Yeah, that doesn't bother me. I don't even pay attention to it, to be honest with you.
Colin Cowgill, the batter, with 1 out. Runners at first and second.
Those are all ideas Tom had, and I think they're pretty reasonable.
1-1 fouled off. Now, if I have this right, with nobody on, the pitcher is supposed to throw within 12 seconds.
I think that's correct. I think that's the correct
number. If somebody's on, then all bets are off. They can take as long as they want.
They can take as long as they want, yeah.
How do you feel about that? I mean, do you want to clock with somebody on, too?
Not necessarily, as long as they enforce the other one. But you wouldn't have that problem if you didn't have the hitters walking all over the place, I don't think.
Well, today, ironically, the Yankees and Astros played a game in 2 hours and 7 minutes.
And I was watching some of that game from the Red Sox clubhouse, and that thing just flew along. Very rare today to get anything under 2.5.
Backing off is De La Rosa. Red Sox and Angels played 3 hours and 42 minutes last night. 9-inning game.
My thing has always been, with the pitching coaches going out there. Not only heard a lot of the conversations, but you know, if I was playing second base and I made an error, do I call the infield coach out to help me?
Right.
You know,
if you're a batter in the middle of your at bat, call out the hitting coach.
Call out the hitting coach. What should I look for in this situation? You know, I mean, there's nothing against pitching coaches because they do a marvelous job with their pitches, obviously. But for me, I could do without it. And I really think if you ask pitchers, honestly, they could do without it too.
They probably don't want to see him.
Exactly.
3 balls, 2 strikes, 1 out, 2 on here for the Angels. On top, 1-0. Runners go. The pitch is going to be outside. It's ball 4 and down to first base goes Cowgill. De La Rosa ends up walking the number 8 man and the number 9 man to load the bases. Well, enjoy the rich taste of Farmhouse Blend coffee from Cumberland Farms. Made from 100% Arabica coffee for the perfect balance of aroma, body, and taste. Stop in today for a cup of do-it-yourself coffee perfection for only 99 cents, any size.
Remember one time, Don, we were playing in Detroit. I was a member of the Angels, as a matter of fact. And Norm Sherry was the manager, and he ordered Nolan Ryan from the dugout to intentionally walk Jason Thompson on 4 pitches. And Nolan said no from the mound. So Norm had to come back out of the dugout.
Talk to Nolan.
Yeah. But it didn't make any difference because Nolan didn't walk him. You know what he ended up doing? Striking him out.
Did he really?
Yeah.
Wow. This is chopped down the first baseline foul. Yeah, you're right. The manager does have to go out there to get the pitcher. Otherwise, they could say they didn't see him.
Oh, exactly. Guys, you know how guys hate to come out of the game, right? No, I'm not coming out. Yeah, you are. You got to come. No, I'm not coming out. I think we got to leave that in play. That has to stay in play.
Has to happen. They got to come out and actually take the baseball. Remember David Wells back in the day firing the baseball down the left field line.
Cito Gaston was the manager. Yeah, in Toronto.
Ball and a strike now to Cole Calhoun. Ibar at third base, Ionetta at second base, Cowgill at first, 1 down. Strike over the inside corner. Generous call. 1-2.
It's one of the few generous calls that Fletcher has made so far in this game tonight for either side.
th pitch of the inning coming up here for Ruby De La Rosa, trying to pitch his way out of a jam. 1 out, bases loaded, and the bottom part of the order doing the damage here for the Angels, setting the table for the top. Outside, 2-2.
It's funny, you know, staying on that conversation just for a little bit longer. You look around the ballpark at the fans, and a lot of the fans that we see are between that age group that come to the ballpark to watch the games.
They're coming to the games. They're not watching the games.
Exactly. It's weird. It's a baseball problem. It's all around baseball.
I think that you're so used to getting information and things happening right away now that you have to have action right away now too. I think that's largely the problem. And as you know, well, for a long time in baseball, not a lot happens. In fact, I think there's one study we saw 68% of the time there's nothing happening. That's a long time of nothing. Whereas if you are to speed the game up, there is more happening in a shorter period of time. Quite obviously. Stuff's happening on that phone right now.
Maybe they're texting in, you know, to Nesson and giving them some information on what they think. She's got a funny idea.
Like Socha's brother Jimmy.
Jimmy Socha?
That is not Mike Socha's brother, Jimmy. 2-2 the count. Swing and a miss, and Calhoun strikes out. Big strikeout for De La Rosa. Second of the game. 2 down.
A very good slider right there from De La Rosa, down in that blind spot for a left-handed hitter, down in off the plate. A huge strikeout for De La Rosa with the bases loaded. Now he's going to deal with Trout to try to get out of this mess.
Mike Trout grounding out to third base in the first inning. 0 for 1. In there for a strike, and it's 0-1. Bases loaded, 4 for 10 on the year for Trout. Has 1 grand slam to his credit, 2 in his career. He is 0 for his last 8 at the plate. Fouled it off himself painfully, and it's 0-2. For every Red Sox game that goes into extra innings or the Sox get a save, CVS Pharmacy will make a donation to Boston Children's Hospital towards a $25,000 donation once again this season. CVS Pharmacy is the official pharmacy of the Boston Red Sox. 0-2 pitch coming up to Mike Trout. And a swing and a miss. De La Rosa gets out of the bases loaded 1-out jam by striking out Calhoun and Trout. Your call of your favorite Red Sox player hitting a home run, and we will play the best in our broadcast and give you feedback. Log on to NESN.com/OnTV to get started. Well, the Bunker Hill Monument in Boston, 1-0. Angels have the lead. Charlestown, Massachusetts, 1-0. Yeah, standing in is Alan Craig, who takes the strike. Alan Craig back with the Red Sox and fresh off the DL. Was slated to play in Pawtucket, continuing his rehab tonight, but the Sox figured why not have his at-bats right here. It's down to third base. David Freese across the diamond in time to get Craig. 4 in a row retired by Shoemaker. And Kelly Johnson coming up.
Obviously, we have not seen a lot of Craig, but he's the type of hitter that uses the whole field. He'll go to the opposite field with men in scoring position. It's always been one of his strengths throughout his major league career.
One down for Kelly Johnson, hitting at .214. Johnson getting his second straight start at first base for Boston. And the Angels into a shift on him as he takes a high strike, very high. There's the shift on. Kendrick into short right. And bring Ibar, the shortstop, to the right side of the infield. Swing and a miss, and it's 0-2.
Well, a couple of good split-fingered fastballs being thrown already by Shoemaker. Tumbling as he gets to the hitter.
Late swing and fouled off. Shoemaker hit Brock Holt in the first inning. Holt would steal second base, but proceeded to strike out Pedroia, Nava, and Cespedes in succession to get out of the first inning. Swing and a miss, and Johnson late on the fastball away. Fourth strikeout for Shoemaker. 2 down here in the second inning.
And a little movement on that one too, going away from the left-handed Kelly Johnson. You see the catch high and then it's set up outside. Little tail on the fastball right at the end. And the swing and miss. Strikeout high is 10. Done a couple of times for Shoemaker this season.
2 down, 5 in a row. Retired by Shoemaker. Xander Bogaerts the batter. Xander 1 for 3 last night. Snapped an 0 for 21. Fly ball to shallow right. Late break for Cole Calhoun, but he'll have time to recover. And he puts it away. Shoemaker with an easy second inning through 2. 1-0 Angels. Davis will get you ready for the first of 3 here at Fenway against the Mariners, plus a live preview from Foxborough as the Patriots host the Panthers in their 3rd preseason game. All that and more on NESN Live, presented by Cross Insurance, tomorrow at 5. We move on to the 3rd inning. Albert Pujols leading it off. Pujols struck out swinging in the 1st inning. 3 strikeouts for De La Rosa through the first 2 innings. Strike on the corner evens the count at 1-1. Fouled off, 1-2. Pujols, 34 years of age, from Santo Domingo, the Dominican Republic. Now resides in St. Louis still during the offseason after all those years with the Cardinals. From 2002 through 2011 in St. Louis. Did he go? No, says Mike Machlinski, the first base umpire.
Good call at first base. No swing there by Pujols.
It's a fly ball out the shallow left center field. Out goes Bogarts. The shortstop makes the catch for the first out of the 3rd inning. Let's send it back down to Gary.
Well, guys, the ALS Ice Bucket Challenge is sweeping the nation. It's actually swept the globe. And today it kind of came full circle with Red Sox Nation, the Red Sox staff, front office members. Tom Werner, Larry Lucchino, Sam Kennedy, Dr. Charles Steinberg, all involved as the Red Sox front office and staff were doused. And the Red Sox players actually doing the honors right there. It was cold right in front of the Red Sox dugout right before they took batting practice about 3:30 today. They were actually challenged by MLB.com at 10 o'clock this morning. I was talking to Sam Kennedy. He said, listen, it was team photo day. Everybody was out here, so it was kind of one of those things that we sprung it together. 3 hours later, everybody got doused, and of course, they ended up challenging the Pawtucket Red Sox, Liverpool FC, and all the Boston Globe writers. So now they have 24 hours.
All right, Gary, thanks very much. Talked to John Farrell right after it happened. He had to douse the CEO and president of the Boston Red Sox, Larry Lucchino, technically his boss. And
right.
I said, how did that go? He said, I was just doing what I was told. And Larry said that he did not miss one drop. It hit all of him. Didn't miss any of it. Looks kind of cold. So John Farrell doing the honors there. One in a row retired here by De La Rosa. 2 down in the 3rd inning.
Has Gary got it yet?
I don't know that he has. Actually, yes, he has. I saw the video. He did.
That's a fact. I actually completed the Ice Bucket Challenge when we were in Anaheim. Mike Napoli did the honors after the walk-off.
Oh, that's right. That's right. That's right.
Back up the middle into center field. Kendrick is 2 for 2. And this base hit coming with 2 outs in the 3rd inning. So he continues to hit well here at Fenway Park and hitting off De La Rosa tonight.
Yeah, 2 for 2. He was 1 for 3 off him in that game that he faced him in L.A. or Anaheim, I should say. And tonight, 2 for 2.
2 down, and Kendrick at first base. David Freese, the batter. Jerry, it's the top of the hour.
That means it's time to tell everybody where we are and what the score is.
And who we are.
And who we are is the most important thing.
Don Orsillo, Jerry Remy, Gary Streisky coming to you from Fenway Park. It's game 4 of a 4-game series between the Red Sox and the Angels. The Angels have taken the first 3 games of the series and have a 1-0 lead in the top half of the 3rd inning in game 4. 13 out of 18. Kendrick on the bases. So he gains his lead at first base again. Fouled off to the right for strike 1. The former St. Louis Cardinals all over the place, and Freese certainly one of them. As he broke in with the Cardinals in 2009, a member of the Cardinals through last year. All kinds of Cardinals, former Cardinals, part of this. A 1 pitch. Up and away. Snap throw to first base, and Kendrick's back safely. Billy Johnson thought he had him and wants him to review it. John Farrell's out there to check it out first and then turn.
Kelly Johnson pointed right in toward Farrell. The check on this is that snap throw to first base. Let's take a look. Tag might have got on the elbow before the hand got back to the bag. Punch you got to look at there for the tag is right around where the elbow is, and apparently Farrell is not going to challenge this. They are.
Yep.
They are going to challenge it.
Mike Winters, the crew chief, coming from third base to get on the headset, as well as Mike Machlinski, who made the call at first base.
Here's another thing I'm for. Next year, I hope that these challenges, like they do in the NFL, are announced by the umpires
over the PA. So that everybody in the park knows exactly what they're challenging. And that was a quick one. He is out, picked off at first base. One of the quickest ones we've seen. 1-0 Angels after 2.5. To fundraise for your nonprofit organization, there is no better place to do so than Fenway Park. Contact our group sales department to learn about this summer's fundraising packages. Go to redsox.com/groups for more details. Now it's on to the bottom of the third inning. 1-0. Angels have the lead over the Red Sox. Mookie Betts to lead it off here in the third. And Betts taking ball one. 6 in a row retired by Matt Shoemaker. It's Betts, Vasquez, and Holt here in the third, and a grounder foul. Runs it outside for ball two. 4 strikeouts through 2 innings for Shoemaker so far tonight. That's with a 5-game hitting streak coming in, spread out over his first inning. Fouled off and evens the count at 2-2. Swing and a miss, and Betts down on strikes. That's 5 Ks for Shoemaker already. One down here in the third.
There's that split-fingered fastball again. At least 3 of the strikeouts have come on that pitch.
Time now for the list presented by Benjamin Moore. Famous people born on August the 21st. Usain Bolt, Wilt Chamberlain, Kenny Rogers, Joe Strummer, and Christian Vasquez. Vasquez today turning 24 years of age. Share your opinion by using hashtag NESN List.
Which Kenny Rogers, the singer or the pitcher?
The singer.
The singer.
The singer.
It's too bad Bolt can't run. You know, if he could run, he'd be something.
Vasquez at 250, no homers, 12 runs batted in. Just picked off Howie Kendrick, first base, to end last inning after the challenge was successful for the Red Sox.
Another look at the pickoff at first base from Vasquez. Watch how quick his feet are in that shift, that turn position, and throw to first base. Kelly Johnson was right on top of that, too. He immediately pointed into Farrell to have that checked.
Ground ball to shortstop. Ibar charging in. Throws out Vasquez, 2 down in the inning. RBI Baseball is back with all 30 MLB teams and 2014 players. Get the retro 2-button style baseball game you've been missing. Visit RBIGame.com for more details and download today on your console and mobile device. 2 outs, 8 in a row. Retired by Shoemaker. Back up top. Second time through now for the Angels right-hander. And Brock Holt batting with 2 outs and the base is empty. Holt hit by a pitch in the first inning, stole second base, but did not advance from second. Tonight's the 7th and final meeting between the Red Sox and the Angels this year. All 7 games coming over a 2-week period. This is to left, and Calgo going back to make the catch on the track. So through 3, the Red Sox still in search of their first hit, trailing 1-0. who care about your community. Eastern Bank is committed to putting you first. Learn all the ways Eastern puts you first at easternbank.com. 1-0 Angels on top of the Red Sox as we head to the top of the 4th inning. David Freese leading it off. Host of changes for the Red Sox here as Brock Holt moves from third base to right field. From right to left goes Nava. In for Yoenis Cespedes, who comes out of the game, and Will Middlebrooks now in at third base. Of course, he left the game the other night with a hamstring strain, but was improving each day and available tonight. John Farrell said before the game, and now into the game for the Red Sox at third base.
So right now you have Ortiz out of the lineup, Napoli out of the lineup, and Cespedes out of the lineup.
Freeze with a swing and a miss.
Not all with injuries. Ortiz, as we mentioned, just a scheduled day off.
Kind of changes the look of the lineup a little bit, though, huh?
Just a little.
Freeze protecting the plate, lunges at that. Swing and a miss, and 4th strikeout of the night for De La Rosa. First time Freeze is down by way of the K.
Last time De La Rosa faced the Angels, he had 8 strikeouts in that game. That's a fastball inside part of the plate to pick up the strikeout. 4, as you mentioned, so far in this game. So halfway to what he did last time against L.A.
Make your insurance, great service, great coverage, and a great price for auto, home, or life insurance.
I'd have speeded that up if I knew you had a promo to read.
I was hoping you would wrap it up.
Yeah.
There we go. L.A., California.
I was thinking of what to call it, you know. But I didn't know you had a copy you had to read.
Holding on to it, waiting. Ibar jolts it out towards left center field. On the move is Betts. Mookie will get there with a late lunge. Nice catch by Mookie Betts. We're seeing a couple of very good catches from Mookie Betts, who is, believe it or not, learning center field.
Yeah, you're exactly right. We saw one yesterday going the other way in the opposite direction. This time he's going toward left field and toward the wall. That's a very difficult catch to make, especially when you get that wall staring you right in the face. Great jump on the ball, great speed. Look at that, right in the heel of the glove, and then into the webbing.
Chris Iannetta batting with 2 down in the inning. And taking strike 1. Iannetta walked in the second inning. The only walk, actually 2 walks given up tonight by De La Rosa. As De La Rosa walked Iannetta, then Cowgill in the second inning. Breaking ball did not break much inside. 2-1. To short, and Bogarts wraps up the top of the 4th inning. 3.5 done from Fenway. 1-0 Angels. Community strong. That's why they've been named the #1 SBA lender in Massachusetts 5 years in a row. Eastern Bank, here you're first. Now back at Fenway, well-pitched game so far tonight. Both sides 1-0. Angels on top. In fact, Shoemaker's not giving up a hit yet as he starts this 4th inning. Jonas Cespedes has left the game due to a personal matter. He's not injured. We thought he may have jammed his wrist on a ball that ran inside on him or something to the hands, but it is a personal matter. The reason that he left the game tonight. And Will Middlebrook's now at 3rd and Nava in left. Cespedes leaving in the 3rd inning. Pedroia fouls it off and is down 0-2. That was in between innings. John Farrell apparently notifying him. No 2 pitch. Close pitch called a ball. 1-2. Roy is striking out in the 1st inning. 5 Ks tonight for Shoemaker through the first 3 innings. Shoemaker winning his last 2 outings. Getting the Red Sox back on the 9th of August and last time out at Texas. 5 2/3, giving him 2 runs against the Red Sox last time, or against the Rangers last time out. This is line foul. Nice pick.
Oh, nice. Really nice. In between hop. Don't put the glove away yet. There might be more action this inning.
Pedroia lifts it to left field, sending Cowgill back onto the dirt of the track to make the catch for the first out of the 4th inning. Now, the Sunday Catch, an all-new episode of Nesson Clubhouse, where kids run the show. Is a college or MLB ball easier to grip? We find out at the baseball lab. Plus, we learn what it's like to apply mud to a baseball, and Mike Timlin shows how to cover home plate. Don't miss Nesson Clubhouse live and commercial-free Sunday at noon. One out here in the 4th inning. Daniel Nava coming up. Struck out swinging in the 1st inning, 0 for 1.
I would think if the seams are higher on the college baseball, that would be easier to grip. Now, I don't know if they are or they're not, but if they are, that would certainly make the grip easier.
On the ground to shortstop. Ibar charging in, kind of surrounded it and throws out Nava. 2 down. Yeah, the last baseball I can tell you anything about, Jerry, is high school. It's the last baseball that I saw.
How remember the seams? No. I don't really either.
2 down here in the 4th inning. Will Middlebrook's the batter. 188, 2 homers, and 11 runs batted in.
It's one of the things when Dice K came over here from Japan. Remember that? They were talking about the size of the baseball, a little bit bigger here. And it took them a while to get adjusted to the larger baseball.
Well, Middlebrook's kind of thrust into this game tonight, not anticipating that he would play. Swing and a miss, and it's 2-1. Eleven in a row retired by Shoemaker with 2 outs here in the 4th inning. Middlebrooks pops it up. Back goes Kendrick, the second baseman, to the outfield grass. Now back to the dirt to make the catch. It ends the inning. Shoemaker's not giving up a hit through 4. 1-0 Angels. Red Sox tickets for students. Student tickets are available for every Sox game. Tickets start at just $9. So go to redsox.com/student to take advantage of this great offer today. Well, nice night in Boston as we play along to the 5th inning. Colin Cowgill leads it off for the Angels. He walked in the 2nd inning, followed by Cole Calhoun and Mike Trout in the 5th inning. De La Rosa giving up the only run that he has allowed tonight in the 1st inning. Double by Josh Hamilton that scored Cole Calhoun from second base. Angels tried to get a 2nd run in, but Josh Hamilton was gunned down at the plate by Yoenis Cespedes. 2 balls and a strike. David Ortiz not in the lineup tonight for the Red Sox. What a series he had to this point. 8 for 10 in the series.
On fire. John Farrell said, though, he wanted to break up this 17-day stretch that the Red Sox have without having time off. It's been quite a show that David's put on over the last few games.
8 for 10, a double, 2 homers, 2 RBIs, 4 walks. Seen the season average go from 250 to 263 during this series. On base percentage from 341 to 355. High chopper foul. Attention Red Sox Nation, there's a reason why the Boston Red Sox and the rest of America run on Dunkin', because our coffee is consistently smooth and delicious. Dunkin' Donuts coffee started right here in Boston as the #1 coffee in New England. So when you want the best coffee in town, there's only one choice, Dunkin' Donuts. The Boston Red Sox run on Dunkin'. Payoff pitch to Cowgill. And a swing and a miss. De La Rosa picks up his 5th K.
De La Rosa was committed to throwing that changeup. He shook off a couple of signs from Vasquez. He finally put the changeup down and picks up the strikeout bunt with it.
One down here in the 5th inning. Cole Calhoun, the batter. Single, scored the only run of this game, and struck out swinging in the 2nd inning. A run, 5 hits, no errors for the Angels. No runs, no hits, and no errors for the Red Sox. On the ground, right side to Pedroia. 2 down in the 5th inning. Don't miss the excitement of the Bruins and Celtics this season. Single game suites are now available, accommodating 18 to 60 fans. Suites are the ideal spot to catch a game with a group and feature a private bathroom, in-suite catering options, and more. Visit tdgarden.com/suite rentals or call 617-624-1847 to secure your suite now.
So we should do that in the off season, Don. We should
Rent
get
a
together
suite?
with our crew.
Yep.
And rent a suite over there, watch a hockey game.
Sounds like a plan.
Have our own personal bathroom.
The problem is our crew is all working on the game, so they may not be able to join us.
Oh, that's true, too. Forgot about that.
So it'd be just you and me in our private bathroom.
It's just not baseball if they do.
That's right. Ball and a strike to Trout. And a swing and a miss on a pitch headed downward. Good changeups in this inning from De La Rosa.
Don, just you and Jerry, huh?
Oh, I forgot about you, striker.
Hey, no, I'm easily forgettable down here. You know, just kind of on my island.
Trout strikes out. So do I. 1-0 Angels have the lead. The Red Sox have played 48 one-run games this season, the most in the AL, and are an even 24-24 in those games. Twisted Tea Hard Iced Tea. So refreshing hard iced teas taste like real iced tea. Be a little twisted. Another one-run game tonight so far. It's 1-0 Angels. So we play into the bottom of the 5th inning. Alan Craig leading it off. And taking strike one from Matt Shoemaker. Reagan has returned to the Red Sox lineup, grounded out to third base in the 2nd inning. So far 1 for 5 in a Red Sox uniform. And down 0-2.
Reminds me of a story, Don. I mean, we're talking about getting a suite in the offseason. 78 Red Sox that I played on, they used to kid about that team, 25 players, 25 cabs. It wasn't the closest group in the world, and I remember getting on the bus one day. In those days, we had just one bus for everybody. And sitting next to a player, and there's a player behind me. I won't mention his name. And the player behind me starts talking about how we should all get together and throw in some money so we can all get together someday to, reminisce and, at least once a year see each other. The guy sitting next to me goes, I don't want to see him again the rest of my life.
So that never happened. So
no, that never happened. We never had the
reunion
the
once
big
a year.
Bucket of money flowing in for the reunions.
One down here in the 5th, and they had to be part of that group that got along. I mean, were there cliques?
Yeah, they were, no. I mean, it wasn't as bad as what the media made it out to be by any means. It was just a group of.
It was a fair ball picked by Pujols. Over to cover is Shoemaker. 2 down.
A lot of different individuals. A lot of guys in the Hall of Fame, obviously. And a lot of great players and different personalities, and it was clicky. There was some clicks, but it was a pretty darn good ball club. 99 wins.
You don't all have to get along. Chemistry's overrated.
Yeah, I've always said that.
Yeah. Winning, I think, helps chemistry. Don't you agree?
I totally agree.
You win, and then there's chemistry.
I totally agree.
2 down here in the 5th inning. Xander Bogaerts flied out to right field in the 2nd inning. I always point to the Oakland A's years ago that didn't really get along all that well.
Fights all the time.
Yeah.
I mean, guys dropping each other in the clubhouse.
They were a great team.
And winning every night. Yankees.
Rolled over foul. These aerial views of Boston and Fenway Park are brought to you by Hood, the official dairy of the Boston Red Sox. To follow the Hood Blimp and enter to win prizes this summer, visit Hood Facebook page or follow @HoodBlimp on Twitter. 0-2 to Bogaerts. And a pop-up foul ground. Back comes Iannetta, but he won't have a play. $14 in a row retired by Shoemaker. He's not giving up a hit through 4 2/3 tonight. Only base runner Brock Holt in the bottom of the 1st inning, hit by a pitch. '60th pitch for Shoemaker is carved foul. Alltown, New England's premier convenience retailer, is committed to supporting the communities they serve. For every home run the Red Sox hit the rest of the season, Alltown will donate $500 to Cystic Fibrosis Multiple Sclerosis Foundation. Visit cfms.org for more info. Line foul back into the seats. On the ground and up the middle, but Ibar slides over and gets it to first base in time. Bogaerts made a bid for the first Red Sox hit of the night. They don't have one through 5. And Jenny Johnson this Saturday as the intersection between sports and dining meets. It all begins at 9 on Saturday morning. 6th inning, 1-0. Angels on top as Albert Pujols leads it off and takes strike one from Ruby De La Rosa. Pujols 0 for 2 in the game. A strikeout victim in the 1st inning. Popped out to the shortstop in the 3rd. Vasquez pulls it back, but it's a ball. 2-1. Josh Hamilton waiting on deck, and then we'll see Howie Kendrick as part of this top of the 6th inning. Breaking ball drops in there for a strike. Pujols didn't think so.
Pujols thought this ball might have been up and in. Slider that time from De La Rosa. Just barely picking up the top of the strike zone. Very seldom called a strike.
And Pujols strikes out. 7 strikeouts for De La Rosa. First out of the 6th inning.
And a second time he's got Pujols to strike out on that changeup. He goes from up and in to down and in with the slider, then the changeup, followed by the changeup for the strikeout.
Pitching line brought to you by Ace Ticket for De La Rosa. 5 1/3, 5 hits, 1 run. He's walked 2 and just struck out his 7th batter. Here's pitch 86. And Hamilton drives it to right field. Brock Holt on the run, and Holt will run it down onto the warning track. Good running catch by Brock Holt. Pretty good bid there by Hamilton, who's been swinging a good bat in this series, but he is out number 2 of the inning.
Yeah, the ball set up just long enough for Brock Holt to get over there as quickly as possible and make that catch going away. He wasn't playing him dead pull, and I think that helped him get to that baseball in front of the Red Sox bullpen.
He may have tossed somebody. Because Socha came out to say that maybe Socha got tossed. Not sure. Well, that strike 2 call Pujols did not like earlier. Looked up and Socha was at home plate. Now he's gone. Somebody else went, and now Mike's gone too.
You wonder if it's Pujols, you know, after those 2 strike calls.
It's freeze.
That's a long way. If it's somebody in a dugout. It is Pujols.
It is Albert.
I'll tell you, used to call umpires like that rabbit ears.
So Pujols and Socha gone.
Pujols not happy about this pitch right here. And that was strike 2 on him. And then it followed with the changeup for the strikeout. And apparently saying something in the dugout. Fletcher throwing him out of the ball game, and Socha goes with him.
Pitch up high to Kendrick. And Socha got out there. He said, "I said it, not him." And then he ends up getting run too. Now Kendrick back up the middle and by the dive. A Bogarts at shortstop into center field. Howie Kendrick on with 2 outs here in the 6th inning with his 3rd hit of the night.
And De La Rosa has not been a mystery to Howie Kendrick so far in this game. He'll be a little bit more cautious at first base this time with after being picked off last time he was there.
Here's David Freese, 0 for 2 in the game. Grounded out to 3rd base in the 2nd, struck out swinging in the 4th inning. Well, relatively close again. Diving back, Kendrick. Get picked off, as you mentioned, in the third. Ball may have hit him there in the throw over.
That's interesting when you throw somebody out from the dugout here in Boston. These dugouts here are a long way from home plate.
Maybe the longest away in the big leagues. I'm trying to think of a place that may be further.
Yeah, there are probably some that are equal, but it's a long walk back to that dugout after a strikeout. I can promise you that. Sometimes umpires hear things come out of the dugout, and who knows if it was Pujols or not, but he was the guy that got ejected.
This is down to third base. Middlebrooks picks it. Fires to first base for the out. That ends the inning. We're through 5.5 from Fenway. It's 1-0 Angels. Foxwoods Resort Casino, August 31st. For tickets, visit foxwoods.com or call 1-800-200-2882. Foxwoods is the official sponsor of the Boston Red Sox. Now, new first baseman after the ejection of Albert Pujols, Efrain Navarro taking over at first base. Incidentally, first ejection for Albert Pujols since 2005. Mookie Betts leading it off here for the Red Sox in the 6th inning. Betts striking out, swinging in the 3rd inning. 1 of 5 Ks for Matt Shoemaker tonight. Retired the last 15 Red Sox he's faced and has not given up a hit. Strike over the outside corner.
That pitch has been very good for him tonight. His slider, his splitter.
All zeros for the Red Sox at this point as they bat in the 6th inning.
There's the splitter again, and Mookie Betts just getting a piece of it to foul it off. Good defense to Mookie Betts over the last couple of nights. Going back to last night, heading out toward right field. And actually making the play beyond Daniel Nava. Tonight, Going in the other direction, left field. Up against the wall to make the catch.
Well, the Red Sox dealing with Matt Shoemaker tonight. They do not have a hit in this ball game tonight, and it doesn't get any easier tomorrow. King Felix will be on the hill with Seattle. Felix Hernandez in game 1 of the series tomorrow night. This one popped up foul off to the right, out of play.
I was looking at their numbers today a little bit, just to get a little pre-look at the Seattle Mariners, and their pitching is right at the top of the league. Offense, not so much, but improved lately. But their pitching's been incredible.
2-2 pitch. Rolled over a foul, still 2-2.
Pitching and defense has really been exceptional for the Seattle Mariners.
Yeah, 2.93 earned run average as a team. That is the best earned run average mark in the majors. Top defense in the league as well. Only made a total of 56 errors on the year. 2-2s on the ground to short. Eric Ibar slides to his left and throws out Mookie Betts for the first out of the bottom of the 6th inning. Look at the AL West beginning the night. The Oakland A's did not play today. They wait for the Angels to arrive at sometime tomorrow morning to get ready for their game tomorrow night. Game and a half lead for the Angels at the moment. Mariners 7.5 games back. 1 out in the 6th inning for Christian Vasquez. Grounded out to shortstop in the 3rd inning. 0 for 1 on his 24th birthday.
I think you figure it out for the fans what time they'll get in tonight. I mean, you figure a normal game. If it's let's say it's a 10 o'clock game here, right? Wheels up 2 hours, 2.5 hours after. That's 12:30. 6-hour flight is 6:30. Pick up 3 hours. That's 3:30. That's just landing.
That's landing. You haven't gone anywhere yet.
Then it's off to hotel.
Right.
Get your bags for those who do.
Probably stay in San Francisco.
So you're talking 4:30 in the morning, probably 4 o'clock, 4:30 in the morning.
Probably best case. To third base, Freeze backs up the throw in time. 2 down here in the 6th inning. Let's time now for the AT&T fan photo of the game. Tweet your photo to hashtag #NESSONFanPhoto for a chance to be shown in our broadcast. Brought to you by AT&T. Tonight, Jay sends us a picture from Pawtucket. The Borges Bear Cubs rocking at McCoy. Two down in the 6th inning for Brock Holt. Well, the Red Sox have seen so many of the Paw Sox this year during the course of the year, and today sending Alex Hassan back to Pawtucket. The addition of Alan Craig. Holt taking a strike over the inside corner. Brock Holt started the year with the Pawtucket Red Sox out of the gate. Pedroia waiting on deck. There are 2 outs here in the 6th inning. 17 in a row retired by Shoemaker since he hit Brock Holt back in the 1st inning, and Holt is the only base runner the Red Sox have had in this game. And as far as second after he stole second base in the 1st inning. Swing and a miss. Holt strikes out, and Shoemaker's not allowed to hit through 6 innings tonight. It's 1-0 Angels. Budweiser tomorrow at 5:30. Tomorrow is the last home game in August, so be sure to visit Art Lounge and Nightclub in Kenmore Square to get ready for the game. Fans 21 and over can participate. Budweiser, great times are waiting. Grab some buds. 1-0. The Angels have the lead over the Red Sox. Los Angeles coming to bat here in the 7th, and Eric Ibar takes a pitch outside for ball 1. Matt Shoemaker has not allowed a hit through the first 6 innings of this contest and has now retired the last 18 Red Sox he's faced in the game. Down the right field line, Brock Holt on the move's not going to get there. Drops fair and jumps up into the seats for a ground rule double as Ibar will take second base to begin things here in the 7th.
Well, Ibar and Howie Kendrick have been doing some damage tonight against the Red Sox. Ibar picking up his second hit. It's a changeup. He's down on one knee hooking that ball down the right field line. So he was fooled on that pitch, but still makes good solid contact and picks up the 2-base hit.
Don Orsillo, Jerry Remy, Gary Streisky from Fenway Park. Game 4 of a 4-game series between the Angels and the Red Sox, and it is 1-0 Angels on top. There's a grounder foul over by the Angels dugout.
You're like Big Ben, you know.
Yep.
Top of the hour. Now we know it's 9 o'clock.
Yeah. I have Brian Zaccello in my ear letting me know now. Like bells.
Yeah.
Iannetta waiting on an 0-1 and a check swing. Iannetta has walked and grounded out to shortstop. There is action in the Red Sox pen as Tommy Lane starting to warm up. Kind of lost in all this tonight. Pretty good outing for Ruby De La Rosa so far in this game.
Very good outing. It was the double back in the first inning to the opposite field by Josh Hamilton to get that run in.
Swing and a miss for Iannetta, and it evens at 2-2.
The second good outing in a row that De La Rosa has had against the Angels. As we mentioned, he struggled last time out against Houston.
Runner goes. Iannetta takes it for a ball. Throw is not in time. Ibar steals it as Middlebrooks thought he had him. Is going to bring John Farrell out.
He was almost running to third base. Now look at the lead he's gotten. He just continues to creep and creep and creep toward third base. There's the throw. Another very close play at third base. And this one will not be challenged by John Farrell.
So a stolen base for Ibar and a full count now to Iannetta.
De La Rosa looks back one more time. He's got him picked off second base. Nobody out. Infield comes in.
Iannetta will take ball 4 and head on down to first base. That is the third walk given up by De La Rosa, the first he's allowed since the second inning. Well, don't miss WB Extra Innings tonight right after the game. You can't go wrong when you buy right at WB Mason. DC and Jim Rice will have highlights and reaction from the Red Sox clubhouse. Plus, you'll hear John Farrell's post-game thoughts. First and third with nobody out. They now back up in the middle to about halfway here, with Colin Calgill coming up for the Angels. Walk in the second. He struck out swinging in the fifth. Foul fouls it straight back, a 95-mile-an-hour fastball. So De La Rosa still throwing hard. That was pitch number 100 of his outing.
And here's where he really needs to go for a strikeout right here. First and third situation. Nobody out in the inning.
Yanks it down and away. Ibarra the double to begin the inning. Steals third base. Iannetta walks first and third. Nobody out for the Angels. Foul back again, and it's 1-2. All fastballs so far here from De La Rosa to Cowgill. Cowgill driving in 6 of 8 runners from third with less than 2 outs. Successful 75% of the time. On the outside corner for strike 3. Perhaps generous. Cowgill doesn't like it. Strikes out for the second time tonight. 1 down.
Now that pitch looked to be outside. Excuse me. And looked like Vasquez did a pretty good job of pulling that thing back in. See how much glove movement there was from Vasquez on that to get it back on the corner?
He is very good at that.
Yeah, very strong hands.
1 out, first and third, and now Cole Calhoun, the batter. Singled in the first inning, came around to score the game's only run. He struck out swinging, grounded out to second base since then. Jumps back out of the way of a close pitch, and it's ball 1.
The same location as the pitch that they called out to Cowgill on.
Ibarra at third, Iannetta at first base. 1 out here in the 7th inning. That's a strike, a little closer, and it's 1-1. Mike Trout waiting on deck. Angels batting here in the 7th inning. Framed by Vasquez, called a ball, 2-1. Angels now 7 hits in the game. The Red Sox have none. Throw to first, and back to the bag is Iannetta. Held on there by Kelly Johnson.
Red Sox maybe expecting a hit and run with a 2-1 count, 1 out.
In the air down the right field line and headed towards the stands. Foul. Holt went as far as he could, but back into the seats. I want to remind you to tune in tonight after our Red Sox coverage for NESN Sports Today, presented by People's United Bank. Adam and Sarah will preview tomorrow night's Patriots preseason game. Plus Andy Brickley and Billy Jaffe stop by to talk Bruins training camp. Vasquez out to the mound to talk to De La Rosa with a count of 2-2 to Cole Calhoun. Angels threatening here in the top of the 7th inning. Fouled off at the plate. Calhoun painfully fouling it off himself.
Tried the slider that time and right on top of the slider off the foot. Calhoun walking it off and heading back to the batter's box.
Grounded foul over by the Red Sox dugout off the screening in front. This inning started with Ibar doubling to right field to begin the inning, a ground rule double. He would steal third base. Iannetta walked. Colin Calgo struck out looking. So first and third, one down, and Cole Calhoun now in a battle with a count of 2-2 with Ruby De La Rosa. Pitch 110 coming up here for De La Rosa. And it's to left field. Nava is there to make the catch. Tagging at third is Ibar. Going to try it. The throw is cut off and the run is in. Angels take a 2-0 lead on a sac fly for Cole Calhoun. Picks up his 43rd RBI and the Angels lead it 2-0.
That's a very good swing by Calhoun right there, because it was a good pitch. It was a changeup that was down by De La Rosa. You see down and away, and look at him cover the plate and get that ball deep enough to the outfield to get that run home from third base. That is some very nice situational hitting right there by Calhoun.
Two outs now in the 7th inning. Iannetta at first base, held on by Johnson. Now Mike Trout the batter. Lines hit into left center field, out of the reach of Bogarts. Stopping at second base is Iannetta on the single by Trout. Hot shot there, and it is now first and second with two down.
It seems like everything he hits is just an absolute bullet.
John Farrell going to head out here with Tommy Lane in the bullpen, and De La Rosa up over 110 pitches now. The pitching change from Fenway with the Angels on top of the Red Sox 2-0. Day. Order by 11:30 and get the reliable power and performance of Duracell delivered to your office that afternoon. WB Mason and Duracell, trusted everywhere. 2-0 Angels on top. Ruby De La Rosa done after 6 2/3 innings. This call to the bullpen brought to you by New England Ford dealers as Tommy Lane comes in for his 11th appearance, 1-0 with a 1.23 earned run average. 6 strikeouts to 4 walks, and opponents hitting at 120 against Lane. Efren Navarro batting here in Albert Pujols' spot, and grounds one foul outside of first. He took over defensively at first base after Pujols had been ejected from the game, likely arguing balls and strikes after a second strike he didn't like. Andy Fletcher, the home plate umpire, ran Albert Pujols, and soon after that his manager Mike Scioscia from the game. So Navarro is now at first base and batting for the first time. Pujols had been 0 for 3 in the game with a couple of strikeouts. This one fouled off. It appeared strike 2 was the one that Albert took exception to in that last at bat. He would later then strike out. Mike Scioscia coming out after Pujols had been tossed, and Scioscia gets run as well. 6th time that Albert Pujols has been ejected from a game, and again first time since 05. 0-2 pitch is outside, 1-2.
Of course, we have no idea whether it was Pujols or not yelling, but it's very difficult to tell from the from home plate when you look in those dugouts just who it is that is yelling out.
And honestly, we don't see a lot of ejections from home plate umpires here because the dugouts are so far.
Exactly, you're exactly right.
Two. And a swing and a miss. Tommy Lane comes in, gets his job done. Angels out a run of a 2-0 lead, 7th inning stretch. Commercial and industrial pumps for facilities throughout the Northeast. Wow, bet you didn't know FWWeb did that. For more on this proud Boston Red Sox sponsor, visit FWWeb.com. It's 2-0 Angels on top of the Red Sox as Matt Shoemaker back on the mound, has not allowed a hit through the first 6 innings. 2, 3, and 4 coming up for the Red Sox, but much different 2, 3, and 4 than you're used to. First Pedroia, but then Nava and Middlebrooks. In there for strike 1. Pedroia struck out in the first inning swinging. Flied out to the warning track in left field in the 4th inning. In a row retired by Shoemaker. Grounder foul. Only base runner for Boston, their first batter of the night in the bottom of the 1st inning. Brock Holt hit by a pitch, stole second base, did not advance.
3 straight strikeouts after that. Pedroia, Nava, and Cespedes.
Pedroia foul tips it, and it is still 1-2. More action for the Red Sox in the pen. Shinichi Tozawa. Pedroia not chasing, a ball in the dirt. 2-2. Six strikeouts on the night for Shoemaker. Pedroia grounds it back to Shoemaker. He'll run a bit, toss underhanded for the first out here at the bottom of the 7th inning. Third time he's got Pedroia tonight.
We mentioned it many times, but that ground ball, when they go back to the pitches, they love to have them up high like that. The ones that stay down near the ankles and the feet pretty much always get through. At least up there they have a chance.
One down for Daniel Nava, 0 for 2. He struck out swinging in the first inning. Grounded out to short in the 4th inning. And he takes strike 1, a very high strike call. Fouled off to the left out of play. 1-2. Fouled off again to the left. Swing and a miss, and striking out is Daniel Nava. 7 strikeouts for Shoemaker. He's got 2 outs in the 7th inning.
I'll tell you what, the Red Sox have done absolutely nothing against this guy twice. I mean, the 3 innings he pitched in that extra inning game back in Anaheim, where he picked up the win against the Red Sox, and a no-hitter going tonight. That's a split-fingered fastball again right there.
Pitching line brought to you by your Eastern Lexus dealers. 6 2/3, no hits, no runs. He's not walked anybody, 7 strikeouts. He's retired the last 20 batters in a row. No hitter through 6 2/3. Middlebrooks takes ball 1. Fouled off to the right, 1-1. Middlebrooks a late addition to this game tonight. Cespedes leaving on a personal matter during the game after he had struck out in the first inning. Middlebrooks first batted in the 4th, popping out to second base. .91 pitches tonight, season high 112. Swing and a miss, 2-2.
Again, a nasty slider down and away from Middlebrooks. On target with all his pitches. Fastball, slider, splitter.
You're talking about that 19-inning game that he pitched, and he allowed no hits in those 3 innings.
No hits in 3 innings.
Line to left, and that's going to be a hit. Down towards the corner for Middlebrooks, who heads for second base. Throw goes there. It is off the mark, and it's a double for Middlebrooks. And the end of the no-hit bid for Matt Shoemaker, who went 6 2/3 before giving up his first hit of the night.
Something that stayed upstairs. It might have been the splitter from Shoemaker that stays upstairs a little bit, and Middlebrooks hooks it right down that left field line. Yeah, I believe it was. Stayed about belt high and inside part of the plate, and down to the 310 for Middlebrooks. He gets the double. Still scuffling a little bit, pulling on that hamstring area, that right leg.
Yeah, literally grabbing at it as he was headed to second base. Scoring position with 2 down. Alan Craig, the batter. 0 for 2 for Craig in his return to the Red Sox. 1 for 6 in a Red Sox uniform. Strike 1. On the ground down the third baseline. David Freese has got it. That'll end the inning, but the no-hit bid is gone for Shoemaker. Still has a 2-0 lead through 7. the best seats at the lowest prices to all the games at Fenway, all the 200% guarantee. Right now, Ace Ticket has special savings on all Red Sox games. Visit Ace Ticket or call 1-800-MY-SEATS. Tommy Lane back out on the mound as a ground ball with a shift on. It's Middlebrooks on the right side of the infield who throws out Josh Hamilton to begin the inning. One down here in the 8th. Sox culture for Tommy Lane. Favorite food, Italian. Favorite vacation spot is Fiji. eBay is his favorite app. He wasn't a ball player, be a firefighter or a hunting guide. He is done for the night after getting the 2 batters he needed to. The final out of the 7th, first out of the 8th. Pitching change from Fenway. Wide selection of Green Mountain Coffee K-Cup packs will keep you running and guaranteed to satisfy any fan base. Order by 11:30 a.m. and get free same-day delivery. Who but W.B. Mason? One down here in the top half of the 8th inning. Howie Kendrick takes the breaking ball for strike 1. Shinichi Tazawa into the game. Third Red Sox pitcher of the night. 59th appearance, 2-3 with a 3.14 earned run average. 55 Ks to 15 walks. Opponents hitting at 261. In there for a strike over the outside corner, 0-2. Last saw Tazawa allowing 2 unearned runs Monday night against the Angels in the 8th inning. Made 2 errors on 1 play. Not helping out his own cause. He's now appeared in 11 of the last 18 Red Sox games. Foul off to the right, still 0-2. So Tommy Lane faced 2 batters, retired them both, one by way of the K. La Rosa tonight starting went 6 2/3 innings, 8 hits, 2 runs. He walked 3 and struck out 8. He is on the hook right now for the Red Sox. Kendrick now frees next as the Angels bat here in the top of the 8th. Fouled off to the right, out of play. And battling here is Kendrick, who's already had a 3-hit night. Single to left, single to center again. All that was against De La Rosa. Starting to cloud up a little bit underneath the hood blimp. Fouled off to the right, out of play. On cue, these aerial views of Boston and Fenway Park are brought to you by Hood, the official dairy of the Boston Red Sox. To follow the Hood blimp and enter to win prizes this summer, visit the Hood Facebook page or follow at Hood Blimp on Twitter. Swing and a miss, and Kendrick down on strikes, but Vasquez got to throw him out and does. First strikeout for Tazawa. Time for a Toyota game break in Tom Caron. TC. All right, Tom, thanks very much. Yeah, I'm trying to remember the last time we had a game that was 2.5 even.
I'm trying to remember the last time we had one that was 3.5. We're not complaining or anything, but
2 down here in the 8th inning. David Freese, the batter. Pitch up high for ball 1. Vasquez tried to bring it back to the corner. To no avail. 2-0. Looking ahead to the bottom of the 8th inning. Kelly Johnson, Xander Bogaerts, Mookie Betts scheduled to bat in the inning. Freese fouls it off to the right. 2-1. Beth Israel Deaconess Medical Center, the official hospital of the Boston Red Sox, now offers walk-in urgent care in Chestnut Hill. It's open 10 hours a day for minor emergencies, and every patient is seen by a board-certified emergency medicine physician. For more, visit bidmc.org/Chestnut Hill. Outside, 3-1. Down the right field line. Holt on the run over towards the seats, and he won't have a play.
And Holt going full speed into that area that's very close to the right field wall, and has to go into the slide before he makes contact with the wall. The ball about 3 or 4 rows up in foul territory.
Brock now returning to his spot in right field with 2 down, a full count here to David Freese. Ball 4, and he loses him. Freese down to first base with a 2-out walk. Well, don't miss Red Sox Game Day Live, presented by DCU Digital Federal Credit Union. Tomorrow at 6:30, TC and Jim Rice will preview Joe Kelly's start against the Mariners. Plus all the latest news from inside the Red Sox clubhouse. DCU Digital Federal Credit Union. What can DCU save you? John McDonald pinch running at first base. He has been taking over defensively anyway at third base late in games for David Freese the last couple of nights, and he will do it again here as McDonald runs for Freese at first base with 2 down. Eric Ibar, the batter. 2-hit night for the Angels shortstop. He is singled to left, flying out to the warning track in center. Good running catch by Mookie Betts, and then he doubled and scored in the 7th inning.
Zawa wondering where that pitch was, right at the bottom of the strike zone. Some questionable calls in this game tonight.
Ripped back where it came from and into center field off the glove of Tazow. It's loaded up a little bit and gives McDonald a chance to get to third base. 1st and 3rd now, and all this coming with 2 outs in the inning for the Angels.
And Ibar picks up his 3rd hit of the ball game, a rocket off the glove of Tazawa. Just sticks it out there and deflects into center field. A lot of time it'll slow up enough for the second baseman to get to it, but not that one.
First and 3rd, 2 down as Chris Iannetta is coming up. Gary DiSarcina talking it over here with John McDonald at third base. Iannetta almost lunged into that pitch as he takes ball 1. Two and 0. There's a strike. High enough that time. 2-1. Tommy Lane got the first out of the inning. Then Tazawa came in, struck out Howie Kendrick, the first batter that he faced, but a walk to David Freese. Pinch run for by John McDonald, and a single by Eric Ibar, and a hot shot line drive that off the glove of Tazawa. 1st and 3rd, 2 down. 2-1 to Iannetta. Low again, 3-1. Foul back, full count. As we all know, a happy staff equals a productive staff. There's no better way to show your employees a good time than treating them to a night at Fenway Park. Go to redsox.com/groups to book your company outing right now. Happy guy right there has got a baseball. Payoff pitch coming here to Chris Iannetta. First and third for the Angels. Ball 4, and the bases are loaded. 2 walks allowed by Tazawa so far.
Now that's very unusual to see Tazawa walk a couple of batters in an inning. And missing with mostly fastballs. Is he trying to keep the ball away that time to Iannetta and the majority of that at bat?
Tomorrow at 6, don't miss Red Sox first pitch presented by Men's Warehouse, proudly introducing Joseph Aboud. TC and Jim Rice will celebrate Carl Yastrzemski's 75th birthday with part 2 of TC's exclusive sit down with the former Red Sox captain. That's tomorrow at 6 on NESN.
Yaz turning 75.
Bases loaded, 2 down. Colin Cowgill with a swing and a miss for strike 1. He has struck out twice tonight. Walked back in the second inning. Angels trying to add on to their 2-0 advantage. All this started with 2 outs in the inning. A walk to Freeze. McDonald ran for him. Single for Ibar. Walk for Iannetta. Bases loaded, 2 down. Outside, 1-1. Four for 11 with the bases loaded. McDonald at third. Ibarra at second. Iannetta at first. Cowgill 0 for 4 this year with the bases loaded. On the outside corner, 1-2. Same place as the last one. It was called a ball last time, not this time.
Yeah, flip a coin. See the second pitch. Watch the location of the third.
Bouncing in and blocked by Vasquez.
Tazawa tries the split-fingered fastball. Nice job by Vasquez saving a run. Expecting that ball down in the dirt. The split-fingered fastball and doing a great job blocking it.
Colin Cowgill batting with the bases loaded, 2 down here in the top of the 8th. Popped up, foul. Back comes Vasquez, but he won't have a play. Swing and a miss, and Tazawa strikes out Cowgill. Third time Cowgill is down by way of the K. 2-0 Angels. Is the best seats at the lowest prices to all the games at Fenway, all the 200% guarantee. Right now, Ace Ticket has special savings on all Red Sox games. Visit Ace Ticket or call 1-800-MY-SEATS. Now back at Fenway, where it is 2-0. The Angels have the lead, out hitting the Red Sox 9-1. Matt Shoemaker back on the mound, giving up his first hit in the 7th inning with 2 outs. They retired 20 batters in a row at that point, and Kelly Johnson leads it off here for the Red Sox in the bottom of the 8th. John McDonald staying in the game as anticipated at third base. Action for the Angels for the first time tonight. Mike Morin up in the pen.
Yeah, we'll see if the long sit down had any effect at all on Shoemaker.
Swing and a miss for Johnson, coming out of his shoes on that cut. 1-2.
Not apparent so far. Split fingered fastball that time. Gets the swing and miss and quickly ahead 1-2.
Will Middlebrooks has the only Red Sox hit tonight. A double in the 7th. As Johnson fouls it off to the left out of play. Tonight's game summary is brought to you by Xfinity. Shoemaker has been shutting down the Red Sox. I mentioned he retired 20 in a row at one point and went 6 2/3 without giving up a hit. Other side, the Angels, as far as offense goes, 3 for 4 for Ibar, 3 for 4 for Kendrick in this game. And a pitch a little high for ball 3. RBI tonight for Josh Hamilton in the first inning. And an RBI for Cole Calhoun on a sac fly in the 7th inning. The 2 runs the Angels have produced. Johnson fouls off the 3-2 pitch to the left. He'll see an 8th pitch in this at bat. Swing and a miss, and Johnson strikes out. That's 8 Ks now for Matt Shoemaker. 1 down.
That's pretty nasty right there. He shakes off a slider, I believe, and wanted to throw the split fingered fastball, and there it is. Inside, the bottom falls out of it. Leadoff strikeout here in the 8th inning.
Send it down to Gary.
Guys, if the name John McDonald sounds familiar, that's because it should. He was a member of the Red Sox organization last season, helped him win a World Series championship. Of course, third base right now for the Angels, but he's a New England guy, lives in Scituate during the offseason, and though he doesn't contribute a whole heck of a lot on the field, he actually provided a lot of motivation for the team. Today, of course, the most recent World Series winner. Some of the younger guys that haven't been a part of deep postseason runs actually asked John to bring his World Series ring into the clubhouse from home. So on Tuesday, game 2, he actually drove it up from Scituate. Now, they could have just as easily asked Albert Pujols or David Freese, who was the 2011 World Series MVP, to bring their rings, but they wanted to see the latest and greatest, so he passed it around the clubhouse. And naturally, this shouldn't come as a surprise. He said Mike Trout was one of the guys who spent the most time with the ring, saying, hopefully I get one of these pretty soon.
Well, John McDonald, of course, great defensively. We've seen over the years a terrific glove. 1-2 pitch as Bogart strikes out for the second out of the 8th. That's 9 strikeouts for Shoemaker. Back-to-back Ks here in the 8th inning.
And still has pretty good velocity on that fastball, 92, 93 miles an hour. They wanted it away. He gets it away, and he picks up the strikeout to Bogarts.
Now 2 down here in the 8th. Mookie Betts coming up. Struck out swinging in the 3rd. Grounded out to short in the 6th inning. Strike called. 108 pitches right now for Shoemaker with 2 outs in the 8th. Edward Mujica up in the Boston pen. Already seen Tommy Lane and Shinichi Tozawa in this game tonight. Relief of Ruby De La Rosa. 1-2. That splitter has been on display for Matt Shoemaker. Stay tuned tonight following WB Mason's Extra Innings for Red Sox Final presented by Esurance. TC and Jim Rice will have viewer tweets. Use hashtag Sox Final to get your tweet on the air. Close pitch. Called a ball 2-2. Full count now. Shoemaker's not walked anybody in his outing. New season high in pitches thrown. Dino Ebel, the bench coach here, with Mike Scioscia ejected from the game. 3-2 is on the ground down the third baseline foul. Fouled off down by the shoe tops. 3-2 still. Don Orsillo, Jerry Remy, and Gary Streisky from Fenway Park. It's game 4 of a 4-game series with the Red Sox and the Angels. Angels holding on to a 2-0 advantage. Red Sox batting with 2 outs here in the 8th inning. And a full count to Mookie Betts. And that'll just miss. 9-pitch at bat, and Betts aboard with a 2-out walk.
That just missed the outside corner with the slider that time.
Becomes able to make a change here, it appears. Shoemaker up over his highest pitch count of the year, 116 pitches. And they'll make the change with 2 outs in the 8th inning, and the tying run coming to the plate for Boston. Angels have the lead over the Red Sox. 2 outs here in the bottom of the 8th. Great outing from Matt Shoemaker tonight. 7 2/3, just 1 hit. Departs responsible for the man at first. Mike Moran comes in, his 45th appearance, 3-3 with a 2.62 ERA. Christian Vasquez, the batter. Vasquez will take strike 1. Vasquez grounded out to short and grounded out to third. Edward Mujica has now been joined by Koji Uehara in the pen. Ball and a strike now to Vasquez.
Uehara, just in case the Red Sox will maybe to get a run here or tie it up. You would see him in the 9th inning.
Yanks it outside, 2-1. Moran activated from the DL last Saturday, missed 13 games, left foot laceration. Been on the DL since August the 4th. Pitched a scoreless inning in last night's game. Trying to get the final out here of the 8th inning. Vasquez grounds it foul, and it evens at 2-2. On deck, top of the Red Sox order, Brock Holt. Runner goes, and Vasquez strikes out to end the inning. We head to the 9th, 2-0 Angels. Brought to you by the new Scion TC, Sullivan Tire and Auto Repair, Infinity, and by Southwest Airlines. 9th inning back at Fenway Park, 2-0. Angels have the lead. Out hitting the Red Sox 9-1. And a new pitcher on for Boston, their 4th pitcher of the night, Edward Mujica, into the game. 50th appearance for the Red Sox this season, 2-4, the 4.30 earned run average. 32 Ks to 9 walks. Opponent sitting at 300 against Mujica. He'll deal with the top of the Angels order. Cole Calhoun, Mike Trout, And Efren Navarro scheduled to bat here in the 9th. Zhao ended up going 2/3 of an inning, giving up a hit, no runs. He walked 2, struck out 2. Runs the Angels have are charged with the starter. De La Rosa gave up 2 and 6 2/3.
Got a nice bounce back game though by De La Rosa in this one tonight after a tough outing last time against Houston.
Jason Greeley up in the pen now for the Angels. Houston Street working back-to-back nights, throwing a scoreless inning each of the last 2 nights. Tuesday night got his 10th save of the year. And it is Greeley up in the pen right now. Bottom of the 9th inning, be top of the order. Holt, Pedroia, and Nava scheduled to bat. And Ortiz on the bench tonight would be available.
Red Sox basically down to 2 men on the bench, Ortiz and Ross, and Napoli obviously a big question mark with the back issue.
2 balls, 2 strikes now to Calhoun. He could throw a perfect 8th inning with 2 strikeouts last night. Allowed just 1 earned run in his last 15 appearances, 12 1/3 innings. And a swing and a miss, strikes out Calhoun to open up the 9th inning. Bob's Discount Furniture is going to bat for the Jimmy Fund once again. Bob will donate $1,000 to the Jimmy Fund for every game saved this season. Everybody saves at Bob's. Bob's Discount Furniture, quality, choice, and value. Learn more at mybobs.com. 1 out in the 9th inning. Mike Trout, the batter. Singled in the 7th inning. 1 for 4 night for the Angels center fielder. He'll take strike 1. Nika's actually been very good since the beginning of June. 1.86 earned run average in the last 27 games since June the 6th.
It's been a very strange year for him, hasn't it? I mean, last year a closer for the Cardinals in the first half of the season. And no real defined role. A little bit more of a defined role here in the second half, but it's pitched very well.
Just missing inside, 3-1. Mike Trout singling in the 7th inning, a 1 for 4 night. Efren Navarro waiting on deck. Fouled off to the right, full count. High for ball 4 and a 1-out walk for Mike Trout. Now, one of the quiet ways the Red Sox Foundation contributes to Boston is by supporting the Dimmick Center, which provides innovative, comprehensive, holistic health to thousands of families. We thank H.B. Hood, who helps make the Dimmick Center a beneficiary of the Red Sox Foundation.
Well, that was a nice gesture. They give the ball to the kid and got a big smile on his face as he takes a picture. UCLA fan.
One out, one on. Navarro, the batter.
I think Trout more of a threat to steal with Navarro hitting behind him than with Pujols obviously behind him.
There he goes. As the pitch is a strike, throws a good one, and Trout is out. Bogart slaps the tag on, but Vasquez showing off that arm again. 2 down.
Yeah, coming into the game, he'd thrown out 42% of the runners. He's got a pickoff tonight in the caught stealing. Waiting for Trout with the head first line.
Now it's Chopper to first base. Johnson backs up on it, covering his Mujica for the out. That ends the top of the 9th inning. On to the bottom of the 9th. 2-0 Angels. Communities they serve. For every home run the Red Sox hit the rest of the season, Alltown will donate $500 to the Cystic Fibrosis Multiple Sclerosis Foundation. Visit cfmsfund.org for more information. Now here we go to the bottom of the 9th inning. Red Sox trailing 2-0, and Jason Greeley, the former Pirates closer, into the game tonight for the Angels. His 26th appearance, 1-1 with a 2.18 earned run average, 22 strikeouts, 5 walks. Takes over from Moran, who got the final out of the 8th inning on a strikeout. Brock Holt leading it off here for Boston in the 9th. He'll take strike 1. Red Sox have 1 hit in the game tonight. A double by Will Middlebrooks in the 7th inning. Holt gets the arms out of the way, but takes strike 2.
Well, a couple of options down there for Mike Scioscia right now in that Angel bullpen. And we've seen both of them over the last couple of weeks.
Holt pops it up, foul ground. That'll get back and out of play. What a start tonight for Matt Shoemaker. 7 2/3, 1 hit. Did not give up his first hit until there were 2 outs in the 7th inning, and 1 point had retired 20 batters in a row. Gave up the double to Middlebrooks, the only hit the Red Sox have. This is line foul down the left field line into the seats. 0-2 still. Well, down on the count, 0-2, leading it off here in the bottom of the ninth inning. And a fly ball down the left field line, headed foul. Swing and a miss, climbed the ladder and strikes out Holt with a 93-mile-an-hour fastball up by his eyes. One down.
Now Shoemaker was outstanding tonight for the Angels. We'll take a look at about 3 of his strikeouts. Sliding into Pedroia very early in the ball game. Looked like a split-fingered fastball right there against Kelly Johnson, and then the only hit, Middlebrooks, right down that left field line for the double. Outstanding performance by Shoemaker tonight.
Ended up throwing 116 pitches, a season high, 79 of them strikes. 1 out in the ninth inning for Dustin Pedroia. He'll take strike 1. Pedroia 0 for 3. He struck out swinging, flied out to the warning track and left, and grounded back to the mound. Nava out on deck. Fly ball center field. Trout going backpedaling to the warning track to make the catch. Second time that Pedroia has sent one to the track, but he is out again. 2 down.
Well hit very well by Dustin Pedroia, but you can see where Trout is lined up, and it's just about perfect. Back to the warning track, about halfway from the track, beginning to the wall, and makes the catch.
2 down in the ninth inning for Daniel Nava. 0 for 3 in the game tonight. Struck out in the first, grounded out to short in the fourth inning, then struck out swinging in the seventh. Nava takes strike 1, and it evens at 1-1. On the ground right side, Howie Kendrick will fire to first, and the Angels will sweep the Red Sox in a 4-game series. And tonight the Red Sox only muster 1 hit as the Angels out hit them 9-1 and win 2-0 from Fenway Park behind outstanding pitching by the Angels and Matt Shoemaker, who picks up his 12th win of the year. 2-0 Angels win it. We'll step aside, come back with more from Fenway right after this.